I now recognize the gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Magaziner, for 5 minutes of questions.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined.
Okay, guys, this is Justin Paul. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to react to a few videos of Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, Department of Homeland Security Secretary, being grilled by a lot of different members of Congress, and it was different topics and different things that they were, of course, grilling her about. And as you're going to hear from this interaction, she only was able to say just a few words before, they cut her off and went on to like the next thing that they were going to grill her about, which I'm sure it has something to do with the time that each congressman would have to actually ask questions and stuff like that. But we're going to let the video play here.
On Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you to remember that
Madam Secretary, the man behind you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He is a Navy combat veteran who served our country in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to our country legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old. She has lived here for 48 years. Because of you, Jim's wife, Donna, has been in prison for the last 4 months. She did not come here illegally, and she has never committed any crime other than writing 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. She is currently in prison and facing deportation. Ms. Noem, will you thank Mr. Brown for his service to our country?
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your service to our country.
Now, what possible explanation can there be for locking up his wife for 4 months when she has committed no crime other than writing a couple of bad checks for $80?
Sir, it is not my prerogative, my latitude, or my job to pick and choose which laws in this country get enforced.
You have broad discretion as the Secretary. You can issue parole, you can do all kinds of things, but you're choosing not to. Will you commit, again, to just reviewing Donna's case and reuniting this combat veteran with his beloved wife, who also loves this country?
So, as you can hear, this Congressman, Magaziner, he was grilling her hard, standing up for combat veterans who have been affected by the operations of, Homeland Security, as far as, the first guy, he was deported back to a country that he hadn't lived in since he was 7, and he's a Purple Heart recipient. And the last veteran that was being spoken up for, his wife has been locked up for about 4 months, which is a pretty long time. And they're saying that, she hasn't done much but, write 2 bad checks, for less than $80. And that's just, it's just kind of crazy to highlight here. I'm gonna bring up uh another interaction.
Let's start with the basics. How can we trust your department with you at the helm? The American people deserve an answer, even if you've spent the past year dodging accountability like it's your full-time job. We need to talk about oversight. Oversight is not optional. It is not a courtesy because you feel like it. It is not something you entertain only when it's politically convenient to you. Yet, time and time again, Secretary Noem, you have treated congressional oversight as an inconvenience at best, and at worst, something to be invaded, ignored, or denied altogether. Republicans on this committee may be willing to hand over their constitutional duty in order to kiss this administration's butt cheeks, but I am not. I will never. My district is not, and the American people sure aren't. While Republicans turned this hearing into a praise fest for your failed tenure, communities across America, including mine in New Jersey, are made less safe because DHS under your leadership has become unproductive and malicious. All of the thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you that we keep hearing from across the aisle, there's no thank you from me. And we see the truth that you're trying to hide. The truth is you are deeply unqualified for the post you hold. This is on full display in the way you treat the people in this body, myself included, who have been elected to serve our communities and keep them safe. Representative Grajava, Senator Padilla, myself and others whose character, integrity, and bodies were attacked by your department without evidence and without apology.
Okay, so this is she's, she's a congresswoman from New Jersey, and she went on to point out that during this hearing, a lot of the Republican um congressmen and women were praising the job that Kristi Noem and her department were doing. Meanwhile, across the aisle, there was a lot of grilling going on. So, very interesting as far as the divide here, Republican Democrat. Very interesting as far as the criticism that has been coming from the Democratic side towards Kristi Noem and the job that she's doing, and they're just not happy with it at all.
Far beyond this, far beyond being disrespectful, you have shown a complete disregard for the oversight authority granted to us by law. You have repeatedly shown that you will target whoever you want, whenever you want, without accountability. Members of Congress, members of our communities, and even American citizens, as many of my colleagues have continued to point out today. Secretary Noem, that's not leadership. That's not democracy. And that is not how this works. Again, this is not just about you. Don't want you to think this is just a pick on you day. This is about the Trump administration that has turned DHS into a political weapon. So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more oversight visits.
No. It's a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, Secretary Noem, this is my time to talk, not your time to talk. I reclaim my time.
See, she she just wanted a yes or no answer, and like I said, they wasn't giving her any time to really speak, explain herself or anything. They was just yes or no, answer my question. Like I said, I know they're on a time limit as far as how much time they get to, address her with certain things, but this got really wild.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time.
Transparent
Chair, I reclaim my
we've ever
time.
had.
Secretary Noem, DHS is breaking the law, hiding information from Congress and shutting out oversight. So let me ask you, how can the American people trust your department with you at the helm with this kind of behavior?
The American people absolutely trust this department to keep them safe. And we are showing that every day by the support we get across the country, the amount of people that we're recruiting to all of our different agencies.
Thank you, Secretary Noem. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
Excuse me, would you say that
You
again?
would have heard me if you stopped talking
If you
and
would
listened to
stop
my
talking
questions.
crazy,
Do
quit
you
making
agree
stuff up.
that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
We are not doing that. We are out there enforcing the law, doing our work, and we are allowing oversight
Of course, we're not
visits
going to get any
more than the
answers. With
entire
that,
Joe
Mr.
Biden
Chairman, I
administration
yield
did.
back.
Wow. I mean, that was pretty explosive because, you know, she was, you know, asking her straightforward questions, but at the same time throwing a lot of different little jabs and stuff in there like that. Um, Questioning her leadership, questioning whether she should be in that position. You know, basically saying that she's kissing President Trump's ass and just a bunch of different stuff that she was going back and forth with her. Of course, they're not giving Kristi Noem any time to like fully explain. They just want yes or no answers from her, and you know, these type of hearings are crazy. Honestly, let me bring up another one.
D.C. and Pennsylvania. This is why I sought this chairmanship and what guides me every day in this work. We all share the same goal: keep Americans safe, regardless of the threat. I look forward to the witnesses' testimony today, and I hope we can work together to ensure we achieve this common goal. I now recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson, for his opening statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And before I start, let me welcome Mr. Van Epps to the committee. Mr. Chairman, thank you for getting the Secretary of Homeland Security and National Counterterrorism Center Director here today. Your predecessor couldn't seem to get that done, and I appreciate your commitment to holding this hearing. Each day, we've had more examples of Republicans abdicating their constitutional oversight responsibilities. Fortunately, unlike other chairs in this body, it appears that if you are serious about this committee work being done, and I compliment you for that. As I look at the witnesses table, though, I can't help but notice that FBI Director Kash Patel isn't here with Secretary Noem and Director Kent. I'd also say that we have just been provided Secretary Noem's testimony. I've been on the committee since its inception, and I've never had the rules violated where we couldn't get testimony so members of the committee could look at it until today. Today's hearing is supposed to be one of the most important exercises of this committee's oversight jurisdiction. Each year, we hear from the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of National Counterterrorism Center, and the Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation America. The question, instead of fully funding the DHS, promoting you, congressionally appropriated, stop using its social media accounts to push out racist and xenophobic posts. Throughout your tenure, you've diverted resources from critical Homeland Security agencies and programs to carry out an extreme immigration agenda. You illegally ordered people deported to El Salvador, despite a federal court order and Department of Justice counsel instructing you to not do so. You illegally ignored a federal court order and shipped people off to South Sudan without due process. You are illegally blocking members of Congress from conducting oversight of ICE detention facilities, even though federal law demands that we have access. In the process of carrying out this extreme agenda, at your direction, DHS has terrorized, beaten, and detained hundreds, if not thousands, of American citizens. At your direction, DHS has illegally detained and deported American citizens, including U.S. citizen children with cancer. At your direction, DHS has illegally gassed, pepper sprayed, and put their knees on the necks of Americans, including military veterans and clergy. At your direction, DHS has illegally tackled, beat up, and humiliated United States citizens, including senior citizens. At your direction, DHS has illegally tased, maced, punched, and even shot Americans. Black and brown Americans in particular have been racially profiled, detained, and locked up, and sometimes with tragic consequences. It's just one awful incident. A pregnant U.S. citizen was reportedly thrown to the ground, kicked, and left in handcuffs for hours after immigration officers did not believe that she was an American. She later lost the baby. You cannot enforce the law by breaking the law, Secretary Noem. That's not how justice works. It's not right, and it's un-American. And when Congress tries to carry out its constitutional oversight responsibilities, to question you about your department actions, you hide, often with the help of congressional Republicans. Never in the history of the committee has a Secretary of Homeland Security hidden from congressional oversight like you and your department have, Secretary Noem. Our oversight letters to you go unanswered. You owe us by extending the millions of Americans who sent us to Congress as their representatives a response to over a dozen letters. Your hearings, 3 hearings before this committee, Alejandro directed petition, and just resign. That is, if
So, his name is Beanie Thompson. He's a representative of Mississippi, grilling her, about different things that have occurred during her tenure there. And I got one more here.
We have 300 plus human traffickers arrested, up 15%.
I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I appreciate that, and
I'll catch you after class.
if one of the following witnesses wants to give him some time to answer that very important question, they can do that. Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Noem, with about a year as DHS Secretary under your belt, there's no shortage of criticisms for me to choose from today. You've deported American citizens, bringing a level of inhumanity to this nation's immigration laws that I haven't seen in my lifetime. You've terrorized communities, including my own in Buffalo, New York, vowing to go after the worst of the worst, but instead detaining women, children, and hardworking individuals in pursuit of the American dream. You've botched a response to one of the most devastating floods we've seen, an extreme weather event along the Guadalupe River that took more than 130 innocent lives, including more than 35 children. Central Texas waited days for your agency to respond because of the reckless policies you've implemented. Your FEMA lead was missing in action, completely unreachable, as were FEMA's call lines, with 84% of calls unanswered on July 7th, 3 days after the floods. FEMA personnel, despite your slashing of their ranks, who were ready and willing to help, waited days to spring into action because of your policies. Disasters do not wait for bureaucracy. Your abysmal performance goes beyond your woeful disaster response. You've also taken a sledgehammer to FEMA's recovery, preparedness, and mitigation missions. You canceled more than $4 billion in building resilient infrastructure and communities funds, a program that helps communities reduce their risk of natural disasters. You withheld millions in FEMA funds for emergency alerting infrastructure found to be in violation of the Impound Control Act. You, perhaps most critical to my state of New York, canceled more than 90% of New York State's Homeland Security Program funding, including $134 million in urban area security initiative funds for New York City's greater metropolitan areas. You have mismanaged these grants to the point where cities and states, including New York, are suing you to recover counterterrorism funding that's lawfully theirs and that Congress intended for them to receive. It's a tragedy that we're here today discussing these cuts to counterterrorism and security grant funds for a city that was the main site of the September 11th attacks, the entire reason your department was established in the first place. When I reclaim my time, with New York City being the number one security threat in this nation, $134 million in urban area security initiative funding.
Okay, guys. So I know it's a pretty long video. Just wanted to kind of give a few different perspectives of people, the congressmen, and women grilling Kristi Noem about the job that she's doing, and um, it's just it's just something that's going to happen as far as her having an answer to certain actions and things like that. Some of them, I definitely don't agree with. A lot of those stories were definitely heartbreaking, and she has a very, very tough job. That's no excuse. And we'll see if that changes anything that happens within her department and stuff like that. They brought up a lot of different things from FEMA response to the flood that happened where a lot of children had lost their lives at a camp and stuff like that, and a lot of just different incidents where a pregnant woman lost her child, unfortunately, to being kicked in the stomach, and from to the veterans, and to the congresswoman saying that they're using the department against Congress members and stuff like that. So you know she definitely showed tough skin by showing up and listening to all these different testimonies, and definitely getting grilled. Like I said, the Republicans were praising her, and Democrats was definitely condemning her. So we'll just see what happens. They're definitely calling for her job, calling for her resignation, and we'll see what's going to happen. Again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This is Justin Paul. Peace.